Hello, I'm Ben Lands, Executive Advisor for APC Media. We're here at the Segre 2025 International Symposium in Montreal, Canada, interviewing thought leaders and experts in the power industry and bringing those insights to you, our readers, around the world. Our next guest, Niclas Wetterstrand.
Good.
Let's see you. You know, you've been in the industry for many years already, but I don't know if all of our readers and viewers know your background. Give a little background about yourself with Megger.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to do, of course. So I'm Niclas Wetterstrand, and I've been in the business actually since graduation and from electrical engineering. And at that time, back in the days, we had also mandatory military service in Sweden. So I started in the industry 1992. So it's been a few years, over 30 years. Yeah. And I've always been in test and measurement business, so where Megger is obviously.
Right.
So many different kind of roles, but I would say last 20, 25 years, it's been mainly into sales marketing and strategical marketing for.
And your current title is?
My current title is Global Industry Director for Protection.
Okay.
So Megger is a very broad company. We do everything with testing and monitoring for the whole power network in the electrical industry. Even water networks, we have a few parts.
That's right.
Yeah.
I know that.
But since we are so broad, you cannot not be an expert in everything. So my responsibility is test equipment for the protection circuit. That includes relay protection, obviously, but it's also instrument transformers and circuit breakers. And we also have test equipment that tests the whole circuit of that, which is called primary injection unit. So that's my responsibility.
Okay, very good. There's so many challenges as we try to build out and maintain a reliable, resilient, safe, and affordable grid.
Yes.
Megger's at this point of confluence, right, where we have technology that's going to help us get insights, right? Into these assets. So tell me a little more about your products and how they're solving some of these current challenges.
Yeah, of course, like you say, to have insights and make the right decision and informed decisions is key in our business to get the most out of the network, so to speak. And of course, that's where our products comes into place, that we measure the status of any asset, and then we know the health, and then we can help the owner guiding what needs more attention in the future.
Any specific products that you have in mind that you'd like to make our...
Yeah, I mean, in my area, I have the different categories I talked about, but we can talk about circuit breakers, which is relevant for this conference, since I'm also involved in the A3, which is switchgear, Segre. So the circuit breaker test equipment is, of course, one important part where we measure the status and health of the circuit breaker. And the challenges is, of course, availability nowadays. You want this system to be up and running all the time. So it's tough to find the time slot when you can take things out of service and make measurements.
So how are you innovating in that area?
So therefore we have innovations that you can do tests online, which means online temporary. So it's not a fixed monitor, which is there all the time.
Okay.
But you go in an instrument and you connect to some points which are accessible while the asset is in service.
Okay.
And then you do the measurement just to get a bare minimum of values to see, is this an object we need to pay more attention to, or can we move on to next object? So by that you can screen a larger fleet with those online measurements and then get valuable information to select the ones where you need to do a more deep dive. So
it's interesting. And Megger's in a unique position because you've been making the measurement equipment for circuit breakers for so long already that you know what data to look for, right? So even though these measurements, I would imagine, are maybe not as thorough as a full, maybe offline procedure, but you probably can help utilities know what's important, right? Or what's your perspective on that?
No, absolutely. We have been in this test and measurement of circuit breakers since the first computer-based analyzers of circuit breakers.
Okay.
So that was mid-80s. Before that, they have more manual things to evaluate it. But since that point, we've been involved. So you're right. In those cases, when you do online, you can measure the coil current and the coil behavior, and that tells a lot of how the breaker operates. Because if you look to statistics, most of the problems are targeted or in the operating mechanism. So the operating mechanism stands for about 70% of all potential failures. So if you have a good view of how that operates, then you know that the breaker is probably in good condition.
Very good. Well, I don't want to leave any of you have a massive product, but I don't want to leave any out. But anything else that we should be talking about that's exciting right now for Megger?
Yeah, like you say, we can probably talk for hours about different areas. But one area I want to point out in my perspective is in relay testing. Okay. There is something called low power instrument transformers introduced now also in high voltage area. It has been already in low voltage or medium voltage, I have to say, for some time. But now it's more getting into high voltage. And why? Yeah, it's a cost-effective method, and you have some benefits of not saturating during the current increase. So you can have one core covering both measurements and protection in one end, so to speak. The challenge when testing is that now you should simulate this Rogowski coil or low power instrument transformer instead of a conventional transformer like our conventional test equipments do. Okay. So now you have to inject different magnitudes. So a high current, which in the before was translated into a lower current, is now a voltage instead, which is a very low voltage. So it becomes very different to mimic those assets to be able to test the protection functions in the relay. And there we have innovations in new products, new accessories to our conventional products to be able to cover that area. So that's one example of interesting things.
Yeah, that's fascinating to me because if you're going to start, it's a voltage measure, you're saying. And is it fairly narrow bandwidth or is it wide bandwidth?
It's quite narrow, I would say. So you can say start from millivolts where you need to be very accurate up to maximum 100 volts. But I would say in general you will be good around millivolt range up to 20, 40 volts maybe. Then you can bring majority.
Fairly dynamic range. Very good.
It is, but still the challenge is to be accurate on all these levels and accurate enough to do good and valid tests. So that's a challenge.
Well, that sounds like a innovative product that you've got work going there, and so we'll be watching that. We could really thinking about some current challenges, and if there are any other current challenges you want to mention, that's just great. I also want to think about future challenges. Yeah. So looking 3 to 5, maybe 10 years out, Megger has a great perspective. You're in so many different countries. You're intimately involved in the folks who are actually doing the test and monitoring. What do you see coming? What are some of the challenges that we need to be thinking about as an industry, and specifically what Megger was thinking about?
Yeah, there are many challenges, of course, in the industry. One of the major I see is that we are going to save the world. With the net zero, all the energy transition they talk about, to come to that net zero, we need to transfer from fossil fuel generation into renewable.
Massive electrification.
And that means massive electrification. And of course, we are a part of it, and the whole industry at Seger here is a part of it. So that's one of the main introductional speeches here was all about cooperation, collaboration. We need to make it happen together. So that's one general industry challenge, not only Megger challenge. Sure. But to cope with that, of course, all of us in the industry, it's tremendous need for new talents, and yeah, it's just a massive thing to deal with, I would say.
But it seems to me that with all of the investment that's happening, and we have all of this aging grid, we need test and monitoring to make sure that this older grid's going to last longer, and that the investment we're installing is actually going to be reliable.
Absolutely.
So Megger has a very strong position right there.
Yeah.
So some of your products, I assume, are specifically designed for extending the life of the grid.
Yeah, many of them are. So if you can measure to see the quality, where the status or health index is for the product now or the asset you're testing,
Right.
And you can just extend the lifeline, either with just knowing that it's good health, or maybe to do some small things to adjust it and then extend the life. That's invaluable to your company. So that's one of the parts we do. And also the other way around. Don't keep an equipment in the network which risks to fail, because interruptions, unplanned interruptions, are the most expensive we can face. So,
well, with electrification, we're relying on power more than ever,
yes.
right? And so we have a confluence of challenges that are facing our industry, that we want a reliable, resilient, and safe grid, but we're also depending on an aging grid more than ever. So
yes, we do.
This is a massive challenge. And of course, all of those investments that we might have to invest in those aging infrastructure, we want to take that capital and put it into these new exciting AI loads and electrification. As we can't do both at the same time, right? We have to figure out how to do things more efficiently.
Yeah, of course. They have to balance all these investments so it comes to play the most efficient. We can get most out of what we have, so to speak. So yeah, you're right.
That's an exciting time to be in the industry. We're here at Seagray, 2025 in Montreal, Canada. What are you hearing on the street here?
Yeah, again, it's all about collaboration and working with new technologies. Of course, Seagray is a bit forward-looking from that perspective.
Right.
We're looking into things which may not be in the network so much today, but it will definitely play a key role to keep up with things going on. So I guess that's the key takeaway from Seagray, is that you have a good pinpoint to see into the future what's going to happen in the grid.
And a very international view as well.
Yes.
So
Seagray has, of course, when it's in Canada, in Montreal this time, it's more Canada-based with the visitors. That's natural, but still there's a good portion of international influence.
I was surprised to see how many nations are represented here. Yeah, even in Canada. I know we were in Paris last year, and yes, of course, the Paris
It's larger.
Yeah. But I heard there's almost 2,000 here.
Yeah.
And so
it's impressive, and it's growing. These off Paris, if you put it that way, those growing every year.
Right.
I think in Cairns we had it before, and I think it was slightly below 2,000. So it's increasing every time. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, is there anything you want to leave with our readers? Anything that we haven't covered that you're passionate about? Two closing remarks would be good.
Few closing remarks is Seagray is a fantastic place to be in. You meet people that you never have access to or very difficult to get access to, both due to our own schedule, but also to their schedule. We are so busy on the regular work, so that's one thing. And also it's a great place to convey messages. We have had presentations, unfortunately not in my area this time, but for Transformers, for instance, it's a Transformer-based magazine. We have had very interesting papers about the insights in renewables and what failures you see there from oil analysis, and we have had in other areas. So it's been a great show, and
Good.
That will be my closing remarks from
Very good. Well, and don't forget about our other brand, is Power Systems Technology, which includes all the grid, right?
Yes.
So we do focus on transformers and also women in power systems as well. So, Niclas, great to visit with you. Good to catch up.
Yes.
Here at Seagray 2025.
Yeah, great to meet again. Thank you.
Well,